got off him, and I was mad. Carrie's brother was standing on the chute smiling, and, I said, what the hell are you smiling for? Because I felt I was bucked off every jump, and thought it just looked terrible, it felt terrible.
Welcome to Beyond the Chutes, where we discuss New York rodeo, the people and the places they take us. Sam Swearingen is from Leicester, New York. He was a rodeo competitor for about 40 years, competing at both ends of the arena, saddle bronc riding and team roping. He was the owner of the Rawhide Rodeo Company, a stock contractor, for about 30 years. He and his company put on several of the biggest and best rodeos in the East, Attica, New York, and in Pennsylvania, Benton, North Washington, and Ford City. He has coached and mentored many rodeo athletes, many that are still competing in rodeo today. And he is simply a fan of the sport that attracted him when he was 5. It all started with the John Wayne movie, The Cowboys. As I prepare this episode, he is in London, Ontario, Canada, watching his son Dalen, the 2022 PBR World Champion, ride in a PBR event. By the way, Dalen, a PBR Canadian champion, scored 91.5 points, winning the event. In this episode, Sam talks about how his career as a professional rodeo cowboy started to gain momentum. His winters in Florida were beginning to pay dividends, and his travel took him further and further afield. He tells us about the North American Rodeo Commission's annual finals and his results. And his travel gets easier. With a 21-day ticket, flying becomes another mode of travel. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. My name is Doug Simcox. I hope that you enjoy. So you qualify to the IFR. You went there a number of years. IFR 17, you set a new arena record, 89 points.
Yeah, I tied the arena record.
Yeah. Okay. Do you remember that ride?
Yeah, vividly. It was a big old roan horse that I never heard of or anything, one of Joe Simon's, and went out there, and I was riding fairly good at that time. I mean, I thought it was kind of right at the top of my game, and I got off him, and I was mad. Carrie's brother was standing on the chute smiling, and, I said, what the hell are you smiling for? Because I felt I was bucked off every jump, and thought it just looked terrible, it felt terrible. Mm-hmm. And then I watched the replay, I said, oh, yeah, I did do good. Yeah.
So did the score surprise you when they announced it?
Oh, immensely, yeah. But when I watched the video, it was like, oh, shit, that was good. It was real good, I got a photo at home where my hat is probably 20 feet out in front of me where that horse hit the ground and sucked back so hard,
Had you seen the horse go before?
No. Never seen him, never heard of him, nothing.
So Joe Simon, Minnesota, he was out of the Midwest, right?
Yeah, Minnesota. He's a big horseman now. He was always a big horseman, but now he's Dakota Rodeo and has a lot of great horses.
You mentioned Carrie's brother, that'd be Kenny, of course. 1985, you're with him, your brother-in-law, you're with him, and he wins his bareback bronc riding championship.
Yeah.
What do you recall about that?
Oh, probably the biggest thing was we're getting on the last horse, to win it or lose it, either way. That was the points year. That the finals was done on points. So many points you came in first, you were ahead, and so that you could have a champion that didn't have it sewn up at the end of the year. And he was getting on his horse, and where we rode at his house, they had a camper in there in the arena. And I said, now when you get to the camper, make sure you duck. just to break the ice, and make it. Must have worked, or I don't know. He probably would have done it anyway, but it was just a little something to ease the mind. This is what you work for your whole life. Just do it and do it the way you know how.
Mm-hmm. And you remember the ride?
Yeah, it was. I don't know what horse it was, but it was a bay horse that circled around the left, and he made a real nice ride. Really nice. And that was on my end in the bronc riding. They egged me on my first horse that year at the finals. And
Missed him out?
no, said I bucked off him. And I was he did jerk me down at the whistle, and then this horse really bucked, and I was making a great ride, and he jerked me down. I was laying across his neck, and I remember thinking, okay, I got my feet in the stirrups, I haven't touched them, and
got my bronc rein.
Well, I didn't think of that, but he banged me up pretty good. I went to the hospital and got some stitches in my head. And
holy cow!
I came back and I said to the judge, I said, "Why'd you egg me?" Because I remember laying across his neck saying, "Okay, this is going to hurt, but I'm going to make it." And he said, "I didn't." He said, "I marked you 43."
Oh wow!
And so I went to the other judge. I said, "Why'd you egg me?" He said, "You dropped your buck rein." No bitch, can't do nothing. But when I watched the video, that's what got me stomped on, is I held the buck rein to the bitter end underneath them. So
jerked you down underneath.
And going into the last round, it was between me and another guy to win the truck that year. And this was, I'd already got egged on the first horse, and I pretty much won every round after that. And the other guy's horse reared and was going to come over at about 7.5, and he double grabbed. But they marked him. I won the round, and I lost the truck by just a little bit, like 5 points or something.
Oh, wow.
And the guy was a good guy, and he threw the keys to me. He said, "You want to drive your truck?" He knew,
yeah.
He knew that what it was, but that would have been pretty cool if we both could have drove the trucks out of there.
Yeah, yeah. So 1987, you win APRA. You win an all-around championship.
Yeah.
Competing the bronc riding and the team roping.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, I wasn't a real good team roper, but I didn't miss.
Okay.
I wasn't fast, I wasn't anything, but I didn't miss. And I didn't enter a lot of rodeos, but I must have entered a few and won some money. And it probably was with Mike. It might have been Chip Hendrickson, a kid that I grew up in high school with. And I won enough. I entered a couple bull ridings and didn't do any good. And said that's, to try to get a few more points to win the trailer. They gave away a horse trailer that year or so.
How long did you get to keep the horse trailer?
For life.
For life?
Yeah.
Still have it?
No.
No. Did it have your name on it, all-around champion?
It had all-around champion on it. It didn't have my name, but it had all-around champion on it. Mm-hmm.
And you hauled your team roping horse in the trailer?
I didn't have a team roping horse.
So the trailer was parked for a bit?
Yeah. And people used it, but I did get a horse after a while, that I could team rope on.
And are you still team roping today on occasion?
Very limited.
Very limited.
Yeah.
Okay. Header or heeler?
Head.
So you're traveling at this time, I believe, with your brother-in-law Kenny.
Yeah.
Right. And after he wins the title in '85, he wants to go west.
Yeah, he was going to crack out in the PRCA and see how he'd do. Clint Corey had just left maybe the year before or that year and was doing very well. And a lot of these guys were making the next step to rodeo. And it was about that time where they PRCA got sued for the right to work, where they opened it up, where you could then go to anywhere you wanted to go. So
So you bought your card, got your
yeah,
permit.
yeah.
Did you travel a bit? Did you try to go west? Did you think about it?
I went some. I bought the card and went. Didn't go in the spring, and I'd go some, but not a lot. You know, it. I had a business, and it was, you know, it was hard to do it all the time. You know.
So did you start then PRCA in the First Frontier Circuit, the Northeast? Did you then start to go to Cowtown and
I went to Cowtown once or twice in my life.
really? Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It was just so far, and the money wasn't worth going to. But I did go to like Gary and North Washington, and the bigger ones.
And what
I
do you
would go
remember
to.
about that? And there were those rodeos. Gary, of course, is going on. I don't know how many years now, right? 60 some years
Oh yeah, it
at
might be
least.
70
Might
now.
be 70. And North Washington was PRCA for a number of years, and then you got involved as a stock contractor and IPRA at that point. Was the association. What do you remember about Gary, North Washington, that August run, late July, August run, I believe?
Gary, I remember getting there, and they kept saying you get $50 silver if you win the day. If you win the round that day, they give you a bonus of $50 silver.
50 silver dollars.
Yeah. So the first day I won it, and I went up there to get my $50 silver. I was so excited to get that 50 silver, and they handed me a $50 bill. Oh, I said, I thought they were silver dollars. Well, we don't do that anymore. I said, okay. Of course, the $50 bill's gone before you leave the grounds, but
Right, right. But 50 silver dollars would have been cool to have.
it would have been great. Yeah, especially it used to be 4 or 5 goes. You went down there, 4 or 5
Really?
rides. Yeah.
Okay, on the week. Okay.
Yeah. And which Gary was nice because I could work all day, drive. It was 2 hours away. Drive, ride, come back, do it again and again and again. And North Washington was the same way. It was 4 or 5 goes, and that wasn't as easy. I could only work till noon and 2 o'clock. I guess I had it down pretty good. You go till 2 o'clock, and you go down, you get on, you head right back up, so you get a little rest, and yeah,
Back to work the next day.
yeah.
Who was the stock contractor that or stock contractors that you remember from Gary?
Gary, the first ones that when it was opened up was out of Florida. Uh, D. Matt Dryden.
Okay.
He put it on, and then North Washington. The first time I went was Bob Barnes.
Was Barnes. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then Barnes got Gary, and
And do you remember competitors, big name maybe at the time, coming from the West?
there wasn't that many. No, it kind of run its course from the big names coming back east. There wasn't that many there. Now Bob did some other rodeos that in Virginia and out through there that had some good money. Hamburg, New York, you got had some good money, and
Okay.
you got some real players there.
So that opened up. I mean, the PRCA went from only two opportunities, right? Two different venues. To all of a sudden, you've got more you could get to.
Exactly, and it opened up pretty good. It took a few years, till Bob, once he came back there, got some of those other rodeos. But he did. Like the first year it opened up, I won the circuit, and I probably went to 4 or 5 rodeos.
Okay. And where were the circuit finals that year?
Cowtown.
Cowtown. Okay. And how many days or how many rounds do you
I think
recall?
3 rounds. They came up, said, well, if you do good in this last round, you'll win it for the year. And I said, no, that can't be. You know, I only been to a handful of rodeos, and I won the round and won it for the year. But I didn't know this, but when I took Dalen to Florida to Kissimmee to the Dodge Circuit Finals, it had past champions in there, and I was looking through the program, and I won the all-around that year also.
You didn't
But
remember that till you read
they
it?
never told me.
Oh, they never
I
told
never
you.
knew anything about it.
And team roping then?
Yeah, I team roped
Okay.
with maybe once with Kenny Van Pelt,
Okay.
and
You made a little money?
made a little money at Cowtown, and it was so bad they had me so freaked out about the score line. You know, it's such a score, you're not gonna. And I mean, they had me, and I sat there in the box, and Kenny said, "Go." But I don't know if it could have been a misprint that Mike won the all around, but
Okay.
I find that hard to believe. Never got a buckle, never got nothing that I won the all around.
We need to call the PRCA. We need to call Colorado Springs.
Well, I'll leave that up to you. I'm not going to call and say, "Hey, did I win?"
You owe Mike or Sam. I'm sorry. You owe Sam a buckle
or a saddle or
or
something.
a saddle.
What's
Absolutely.
going on?
So speaking of saddles, how many saddles do you have? How many have you won?
I think I've won 19.
19 saddles. Do you still have them all?
No. I've got 2.
Did you use them?
2. I've used all but these 2.
All but the 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't know. I gave them away thinking, give me back when I'm old and all that. But, they get used and abused, and that's okay. The 2 I got were the 2 NARC saddles, the North American Rodeo Commissions, the 2 I got left.
So let's talk a little bit about that. You were sharing a little bit with me last night about this, the North America Rodeo Commission. How many years was that in existence? And tell me what kind of their mission was.
I think it probably went on between 10 and 15 years.
Okay.
So not just a short stint. It was fairly good. The concept was real good. They took contestants from Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, Canada, United States, from different regions or associations. They took their top 2 or 3 guys, and you got to compete against each other. And
So kind of like the American?
kind of the same concept that anybody can go and try to win this event. And
So you're
kind of
qualified.
before its time, like the American, it's set up differently. It's kind of a big jackpot. But this was the top guys in the association got to go and compete at certain places.
And where was this held?
I think they started before my time. Mike went to Gallup, New Mexico, was the first one I knew. Then they went to, it might have been El Paso for the next bunch of years,
Winter Rodeo?
November.
November.
Yeah.
Okay.
It went to Denver for a couple of years. Maybe before El Paso, it went to Denver for a couple of years, and then to El Paso. And it finished up in Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay. And you knew of this, the North America Rodeo Commission? You had heard of it?
Yeah. I heard of it, and I wanted to get there.
Okay.
It was a goal.
So qualifying the bronc riding.
Yeah.
How many contestants in the event?
Well, I would say there was probably over 100.
In
Each event.
each event?
If they took the top 3 from all these associations.
Plus all these countries.
I mean, they had slack in the bronc ride. Every event had
wow.
slack at 9 in the morning. You were going, and yeah.
Wow. And the broncs came from?
all over.
All
I
over.
mean,
PRCA stuff, everything.
yeah, they had lots of contractors, A lot of guys from Canada brought stuff down. I thought, wow, the heck would you go from Canada to El Paso or whatever? But they were from contractors. New Mexico, I got on some, and there was a guy out of Canada. I got on a couple of his horses, and it was a big deal.
How many days?
I think it ran a week.
And how many did you have qualifiers?
No,
No.
well, the qualifier was in the association end of it.
And during the finals itself, you advanced, or it was average based?
It was average based. There was 2 goes
Two goes.
and then a short go.
Okay.
And
What do you recall about the first one?
I don't know. No, the first one was Denver. Yeah,
Denver.
I do recall.
Okay.
I missed a horse out and was 43 on one side and missed him out on the other. So that didn't go well.
And legit miss out?
He said my spur was past the horse's neck.
Okay.
So
Okay.
legit, I guess.
I mean, you didn't know. You thought you were in position?
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, kind of it was a little horse, and yeah,
Yeah.
so whatever it be.
Right. Right.
And the next year, I came back and won the short go.
So back up that first year, missed the first horse out. You call your second horse, your second ride?
I don't think I placed.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay. Okay. So second year you come back.
Yeah,
Where was it this year?
that was in Denver also.
Denver also. Okay. 2 goes still in a short round.
Yeah.
First horse.
I don't know. It wasn't anything special because I don't remember.
Okay. Okay.
But made the short go.
You did.
Whatever the 2 long goes, I made the short go.
Okay.
And ended up winning the short go.
Okay. And tough horses in the short go, like you'd imagine?
They really bucked. They did a great job of making a nice even pen, and it was good.
So you win the short round, or short go, rather. That wins your first title?
No,
No.
I didn't win it.
You didn't?
No,
Okay.
but I won the short go.
Okay. Remember what that paid?
I got out of there with 3,000 or 4,000, I think, which.
So worth the trip.
Yeah, and that was a year that was. Kenny, Carrie's brother, and I bought these airline tickets. You could fly anywhere for 21 days, as long as you didn't go to the same city twice.
Okay.
So did we go to some rodeos?
Really?
Yeah, it was really good. And back then you could, like, Kenny didn't make the short go, and I did, so he flew and went to Florida to a Longhorn rodeo.
Okay.
And Mike was down there. I gave Kenny my ticket. Kenny gave my ticket to Mike. Mike flew back to, I think, Harrisburg or somewhere where the AFR was a week later, and I had to buy a ticket to go from Denver back there.
But you won some money.
Yeah, I won some money.
You won some money. So you were you were big time. You guys were jetting around the country to rodeo. I thought you guys had traveling partners, and you spent tons of hours and miles in pickup trucks and sleeping in the back seat, and I was feeling sorry for you.
Well, we did through the summer. This was just a 21-day excursion, which it was, that was, to come up with the $500 some for that ticket was a lot of money, but it was well worth it. When we were said and done, we had a good week.
Did the airline lose money on you, you think?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah. So the next year you qualify again?
Yeah, and I don't remember. Of course, you only remember when you do good,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that was the last year, was it Denver, or then it went to El Paso. But there was a number of years at El Paso that I was right there top. That should have won it and didn't. Something went wrong, and I remember a short go in El Paso, and that horse just jerked the fire out of me. I couldn't. He was jerking me so hard. I was trying to double grab. I couldn't get to there, and just beat me to death. And Monty Henson said, "What's the matter, Sam?" He was a little strong, wasn't he?
Oh,
I said, "Yeah." And then another year, I went into the short go 7 points ahead of everybody. I mean, just had a phenomenal first 2 rounds. Won 1 round or split it, and was way ahead of everybody, and had a horse that I had the year before, and in a long go, and just a tweeter, easy to ride, spur me, and my spur went in the back cinch, and
Hung up. Hung for a jump or whatever.
No, it was the rest of the ride.
Rest of the ride?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that cost me winning it for sure, but it wasn't my turn.
Yeah. So what adjustments did you make to your equipment after that?
Yeah, I did. It went right through the back billet, and I had the back was lined with nylon. At that time they had the nylon in there, and the spur just had a little bit of a screw out there, and it just hung in that stuff. And,
Oh, wow.
but
Grind off that screw?
yeah, it was no more, not even a nub there.
So you never hung up again like that, or sat on your foot or anything like
I
that?
sat on my foot a few times, but I never hung it in there.
That had to be quite an adjustment to because 1 foot's forward, I take it.
Yeah, and after about 3 or 4 jumps, you spurred with 1 foot because you said, "Well, it ain't coming out,"
Right.
and had to take my boot off on the bronc to get off the horse.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. And
That
luckily,
took some talent.
Luckily, it was a horse that when he dallied off, it was he was just a good old bronc, and I kept telling the pickup man, I cannot get it out.
Yeah.
It was there, and
Wow. So not for you that year.
wasn't my turn.
Your turn. And it plays in. I mean, we can talk about passion and skill and all of that, motivation, but luck comes in.
Yeah, I mean, freak things happen that either let you win them or don't let you win.
Right.
Right.
And how do you move through those things, past those things? Got to go get another bronc,
Yeah, and I was not one to forget so easy. When I screwed up, it would weigh on my mind instead of saying, "Oh, that's over. Let's go to the next." As you learn in life, you can't do anything. You can't bring it back. So don't make that mistake again. And Dalen's very good at that.
Okay.
That's over and done with.
Yeah.
We're going to the next one. And I was not that way. It's like, if I'd have done this or if I'd have done that. And I just let it play in my mind.
And that affected your riding?
No, I'm sure it did.
Yeah. Affected the drive
Yeah.
to the next one?
Yeah. Affected everybody around you because you wouldn't shut up about it. If I'd have done this, I'm sure they wanted to say, "Shut the hell up. You screwed up. Just do it."
Yeah. And you probably still had $2,000 in your pocket from the weekend.
Well, it's hard to say.
You made some money, right? Yeah. Other than that ride. So you go back again. You keep qualifying, which is it's just a cool story.
Yeah, and the first time I won it, it was, I had a horse called War Sam's. I seen him, I liked him. I thought this is good, and I messed him up. And
what does that mean, messed him up?
oh, the saddle kind of slid back, and I didn't get, it just wasn't the ride. You got an image in your mind of how you want to ride, and it was not that. And I don't know if I was supposed to win it that year, but I won it. You know.
The whole thing. You won your first
Yeah.
NARC championship.
Right.
Wow.
And they'd have for the top guys, they took the top 12 back. They'd have breakfast and like that for you go there, and they had all the saddles set out, and I wouldn't go look at them, and it was stupid, now looking back, like I would never go to finals if I wasn't in it, because no, you want to go watch that stuff so you get the desire to go.
I see.
And you want to look at that saddle so you get the desire to win it, not and
What was the shift? We talked about it earlier. The shift from my goal is to make the finals, in my mind, to no, I'm here to win this. Of course, I got to get to the finals, but I'm here to win it all. When did that shift start to come?
later in life, where it was like, if you have the mindset to just be there, and that gets a little old after a while. Second place is second place, so who was that, So it did change more after a bit, wanting to win and be a winner. Had a sponsor come up to me the year that I lost it when I run the spur in there. He said, after you win this, come see me, and I walked by him and not a word after I didn't win it.
All right.
So,
I'll be darned. So,
which is rightfully so, and that might have been the whole click to, hey, second sucks.
Right. Were sponsorships coming in at that time?
Very limited.
Yeah.
Very limited.
Still have that saddle, the first win?
Yep.
First buckle? You still got that buckle?
Oh, the NARC buckle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got that first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was pretty cool. They gave go-round buckles then, that kind of wasn't heard of anywhere, not the NFR, not anywhere that I knew of.
You've been out, this was your third or fourth one when you won it?
Oh, probably fifth or sixth.
Fifth or sixth. Yeah. And at that point, you're like, time to go west, time to break out.
No, I never ever did say time to go west and break out. Never. I had a wife and kid, and a business, and yeah. I did, after I won it that year, I did have some people that said, why don't you just come live with us in Rodeo,
And that was west.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it just wasn't meant to be, Yeah. I've seen these people just bust their butts and not get anything out of it but headaches, and I didn't want to be that person.
Yeah.
I didn't have that desire to just go see if I could make the NFR, see if I could do it. Do I wish I would have? Yeah, no. Hindsight.
Hindsight. In the same situation, family, job, all that sort of thing, knowing what you know today, remembering what you were then, what your talents were, where you were, health-wise and everything, would it be a different decision?
It would be a different decision from the start. I thought you were brought up in this thing, I was 23 years old when I got married, and that was old. Our family was the mindset, 18's when you get married, and it's just, I say the mindset. Nobody ever said it, but, it's what happened.
That was the custom.
Yeah. And now if I'd have changed it from the start, but no, I'm happy with what it was, You can't. Would I have liked to try one year? Yeah, I would have liked to try one year,
Yeah. And I got to imagine NARC had to be that big exposure. I mean, 100 contestants in the same event. You mentioned Monty Henson. Who else do you remember?
I remember Billy Etbauer,
Oh, wow.
and he was just a kid, and we both made the short go, and he had this horse that really bucked, really bucked. And I got Doc, and he was all excited and jumping around. And I said, well, I'm glad you got him and not me.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah,
And
yeah.
he bucked Billy off. I mean, this horse really bucked, and but that's he's probably the only other one. And I think Monty Henson was there on sponsorship or
Oh, I
something
see.
like that.
Okay, not
But
competing.
no,
Okay.
it was because we were on the same plane, going out or in or something like that.
On that 21-day pass still?
Yeah, exactly. And it comes. You don't know. I was on a. It might have been on that 21-day pass, but the stewardess comes up and says, "Oh, you're Sam Swearingen, aren't you?" And I says, "Hmm?" Or she said, "I know you," and I said, "I don't think so," And then she said my name, and I said, "Yeah." But her husband was a bronc rider,
Oh.
and you know,
So your name is known.
well, and her husband was was a bronc rider, and now their son, made this NFR the same year Damon did in the bareback ride.
In the bareback ride. We'll have to look that up.
Winnemucca, Nevada is where they're
Winnemucca,
from.
Nevada. So do you remember the stewardess's name or the bronc rider's name?
I don't remember the stewardess name.
Yeah.
I thought, what a great gig. He gets to fly wherever he wants to fly for free. Back then you could. And but it was Montero. Trenton Montero was, and he was, actually I went, him and his brother, they're from Winnemucca, Nevada.
Yeah.
The name Winnemucca is going to stick in your mind because it's
Fun to say.
the coolest name in the world.
Absolutely.
They all are on Walla Walla, Washington. I like Winnemucca much better.
Absolutely.
But
Where are you from, Sam?
yeah, not Winnemucca. Lester. But Winnemucca, what a great name. And him and his brother, we went to Italy with them. And so,
Okay.
just good
Now,
people.
before we go off on Italy, because I did have that on my notes to talk about, let's finish up NARC.
Okay.
So you won your first title.
Won the first title and won another one couple, 3 years later. It was great. Don't really remember a lot about it. I don't think it set the world on fire, but I won it. The only person to ever win it twice, as far as I know.
Oh, wow.
And should have probably won it 4 or 5 times, but
Right.
it wasn't my turn.
Right.
And then went with the NARC, sent a team over to Australia.
Oh, this was through NARC still.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
the Australian was through NARC, and
Okay.
that was pretty neat.
So Australia.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Because we had said Italy before. More to come in the story.
Yeah, more to come.
Okay.
Australia's with the NARC. They sent their champions, got to go over and compete against the Australians.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that?
I remember trying to drive in Australia, and very difficult.
Left hand drive.
Yeah, left hand. So I just followed somebody. They must have thought I was stalking them, but I
Yeah.
didn't want to turn in the wrong lane or whatever. It's different. But no, the rodeo, it was called the Royal Easter Show, and it was a big event in
What city?
Sydney.
Sydney.
Yeah.
Okay.
And was a big deal, and horses were outstanding. They had one there that I never, and it was a team concept, so you could pick what you wanted to get on.
Okay.
But they had one there, a Cobra was, buck, and I didn't get on him. Another guy said, I want him, I can ride him. Well, it didn't work out for him, but
Right. Australian Bronx?
Yep, everything from Australia. And it is, it was probably about 20 years behind what we were used to. The contractor would come up there and put the flank on the horse. And, nice people, rough, tough sons of guns. But he said, how come the flank ain't on the horse? And I just kind of smiled at him like, what do you mean? And the next day he ripped me, how come the flank ain't on the horse? I said, what do you mean? I'm supposed to flank my own horse? They said, yeah, that's what we do. I said, oh, well, next time I'll put the flank on,
Okay.
But,
Oh, my.
Just different things. And the culture, it was really unique. And I was going to stay over there and go to a lot of rodeos, travel the country and go to rodeos. But it was the rainy season, and they said, you just won't go. It's not like you got bridges. You just drive across the creeks and go. And so I did go to some people's houses and see them, and he said, well, go get on a bus and take it to the train, and get on the train and take a bus, and then I'll meet you in town. And that's about an hour from where we live, and just beautiful country. At least I got out and seen some of it. And we're driving along, cattle in the road, and you just hit them with your cattle guard, and they keep going. And then all of a sudden he stops dead, and I said, what are you stopping for? You've been bumping into them all the way. He said, these are mine. So,
My property.
yeah.
So how long were you in Australia?
I was there probably 2 weeks.
And how'd you do at the rodeo?
I did well. Didn't win everything, but I held my own really well. Yeah.
And there was prize money. I mean, you were able to keep that, even though it was a team concept, and you were kind of sponsored, right, by NARC to get there.
Yeah. It wasn't completely free trip, but it was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was well worth it. Mm-hmm. And, won enough to cover it. And
that's a long plane ride.
yes, I think it was 18 hours or something like that.
And took your own saddle, took all your own gear, just like always.
Yep. The biggest thing I remember about customs is when we took our saddles and stuff, and they had to spray them all down with some kind of disinfectant for bugs or something like that.
Did that mess up your rosin on your?
No, it didn't help and didn't hurt, so it was good. I had a good mixture.
So on that same trip, did you do Italy?
No. Italy was completely separate.
Still NARC?
No. Italy was with First Frontier. Said it.
So
team over there.
So back me way up on this. So First Frontier, the PRCA.
Yeah.
That circuit sent a team.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much a team. It was just more of a group of people that went over for more of an exhibition rodeo.
Okay.
Yeah.
So kind of a foreign exchange kind of a thing.
Yeah, there was nobody else but us there riding.
Just First Frontier, or were there other PRCA circuits?
There was other PRCA guys, but it wasn't. It was just more of a exhibition of rodeo for the people.
So did this come from PRCA corporate or PRCA headquarters?
I don't think so. I think Betsy probably put it all together.
Holy cow.
Somebody got a hold of her or something. And
okay. So what do you remember about that trip? Let me ask. Spaghetti?
Yeah. I mean, it's Italy. You gotta have pizza out of the oven and spaghetti, pizza with egg on it. Never seen that before. And it was the biggest thing I remember. We were going to a castle, and I don't want to go. Blah, blah. It was the neatest thing to see. The engineering at that time. They had a cannonball room where they could roll the cannonballs to any cannon in the whole castle. So when they built that, they had to have this design to have a path to go up to that room. Guns were 13 feet long. They had 3 people hold them. It just was things to cripple horses for people coming in, like spikes in the ground they put on the ground if you're riding your horse in to try to conquer you. Hot oil things they dumped over the side. It was just so to survive and all. It was just amazing what they did.
So learned a bit while you were there, it sounds like.
Yeah, opened my mind to, well, maybe rodeo was not the only thing. You don't need to sit in a room and wait. It was pretty cool. And the Monteros, they went to Rome, and the guy putting it on didn't want them to go. And so later that night they came back, and I ran down and banged on their door and started just speaking like rah, 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 some freaky, like it was a different language, and scared the heck out of them because they thought the guy that was paying for all the trip and doing everything was going to jump their ass. It was kind of funny.
That is kind of funny. So where in Rome, or I'm sorry, where in Italy were you then?
Florence, I
Florence.
think.
Okay.
And we did go to Venice and
You did?
check that out.
Okay.
And, yeah.
Okay. So you had time to do some sightseeing. It wasn't just there, rodeo, and go home.
Right. It was, you had a few days beforehand and after, and, you got, I think you rode just like once a day or something, and by the end, the horses were loping. Mm-hmm. They weren't, they weren't bucking horses to speak of. And
Okay.
the bulls and stuff weren't real punchy. And I remember Butch Kirby went in the bull ride, and his wife was running barrels, but they just put him on horses to do it, Yeah. But it was neat. It was a neat experience.
And the crowds?
They weren't real good.
No.
No.
So there's no other rodeo in Italy?
No, I think probably the advertisement or something, you don't know.
Right.
And we got to go to a place that had cars. I mean, it was all these Ferraris, and some of the bomb shelter where they had the cars were bomb proof, and climate controlled, and same thing with the wine cellars that they had, stuff that you wouldn't think of. I mean, how much money was in that garage would be phenomenal.
Yeah. What an interesting adventure.
It was pretty cool.
That is really cool. I knew you had gone. I'd heard the stories of you going, but I had no idea that the First Frontier Circuit, sounds like Betsy Harris, you think organized it.
She had something to do with it.
That is crazy. Yeah. That is just so cool.
I really wasn't going to go. They said something to me, and, I wasn't going to mess with it. And then when push came to shove, I had my passport and didn't have to do anything. I said, yeah, I'll give it a try. You only going to do it once. So
yeah, absolutely. What a trip. What an opportunity. My goodness. So Italy was before, after your second NARC title?
After, I believe.
After. And step us through that second title. You've already got the belt buckle. You already got the title from the first. And you said it was how many more years between one and your first win, your second win?
I think the saddle was 89, the first one, and 93.
93, so 4 years between. Yeah. And where was it this year? In 90, yeah.
It could have been Charleston, South Carolina.
Okay, so
either
close
that
to
or
home.
El Paso, one or the other. And
okay.
I don't know, but I took livestock to Charleston.
To Charleston.
Yeah.
Okay. And you competed at Charleston.
Yeah.
So tell me about the second championship.
It was what I wanted to do at that time. I wanted to win.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was desire and drive.
You'd make that switch.
Yeah. It turned. If you're there, let's let's do it.
Yeah.
Not pretend, or not just see if you can get there and let them think you can win. But now I want to win. And
And how did that affect your riding?
it gave me, I needed it at that time because it was starting to get more mundane, I guess. When you do it for a long time, it's like when I quit, I was having to get myself up to ride.
I see.
You know,
I see.
and if you have to do that, it's not worth doing.
Right.
Bad things are going to happen.
Right.
If your motor's not running ahead of time, you shouldn't have to get it there.
Yeah.
And that started getting my motor running
Okay.
again.
Sam's IFR adventures and successes are well documented. In 1985, he ties Gene Maynard for the saddle bronc riding arena record with an 89-point ride. And still today, he has vivid memories of that ride. His best ride ever felt like his worst ride ever, and then the score came in. Imagine 100 of the best saddle bronc riders assembled for a two-head average to qualify the top 12 to the short go. To be able to compete at this level is incredible. I really enjoyed when he talked about throwing the switch from just wanting to make the short go to setting the goal of winning it all. He wins 2 North America Rodeo Commission championships. He is the only saddle bronc rider to win those 2 NARC championships. Now, this championship opened the door for him to travel to Australia to represent the United States. What a 2-week adventure he had. He continues his foreign rodeo travel to Italy to represent the PRCA. Tomorrow, I will be interviewing Marcus Mast, Team Kansas City Outlaws, just off of his PBR World Finals 2 weeks ago. I hope that you enjoy these stories. If you do, please share it with your friends. Help us spread the word. To make your listening easier, you can find us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Search for Beyond the Chutes and follow us. Reminder, check out the New York State Rodeo Museum Facebook group page and become a member. If you have any pictures that go along with these stories, please post them in the comments below the podcast postings. Help Betty Johnson capture and catalog these great New York State rodeo memories. This is Beyond the Chutes. Until next time, this is Doug Simcox. Thank you for listening.